let's talk about email, text marketing, and things like that. And what have you experienced just from, if we were just to kind of hone in on one area, more on the candidate development side? I mean, what's out there? What's winning? What have you seen in the past?
So, number one, we have to talk about referrals. So, and I know you talked about the top of the funnel, like helping getting people into the funnel.
Yep.
But let's talk about how you use the people you're already engaged with to fill that funnel. So, let's go, if right here was hire, here's post hire. Let's use that to push people back through, right?
Yep.
And so, think about the two places that piss off candidates more than anything else in the world. They apply for a job on your website and they don't get anything back, or they agree to be submitted, you submit them as the recruiter, and they don't hear anything back. This is still this has been the number one complaint for maybe decades, and it's still the number one complaint. And so both send and hear fish, right? I'll be fair. I'm not going to, tout. Make it so that you can, okay, so come into the system, they get into the ATS. There's they come off the website. You can auto respond to that candidate saying, hey, thank you so much for applying. Sometimes you can send pre-qualification surveys in the email. Sometimes you don't, but depending on the vertical. But hey, thank you so much for applying. Click here to book time on my calendar, right? And maybe if you ask some pre-qualification questions, you say, hey, don't think, you may not be the best fit for this role, but let's connect. Here's my calendar link, right? So you can immediately get feedback. And you can do that through some website technology. But the thing about using these automation tools is it creates a journey. So it's multiple steps. So if, Donnie, you apply to my staffing firm, I send you the first email, or maybe it comes out via text. Maybe you're a light industrial person. So I text you and say, hey, click here to book some time, right? And it pops open the web browser on your phone, on your mobile device. And now you're booking time directly on my calendar to chat. So I don't have to worry about you trying to call me when I'm not available, which we'll get into later. The meeting's already booked, and you think that my firm is responsive because it comes from my email address, and you're getting something. And then if you don't respond for the first email or text, it goes through a path for 5 to 7 days, and you don't fall through the cracks. So not having to rely on humans to remember, which is what we should be doing. We should be having conversations and building rapport. And, at the end of the day, it's just, so step one, you've won that step. Okay, number one complaint. Now, number two, you have a candidate and you submit them, and we can talk about all kinds of tools to make submissions better, but you submit them, and so I'm going to wrap a bunch of things together here. I started a podcast called the You and the Experience Podcast. Episode 1 launched April 15th. It's more about employee stream. Episode 2 is going to be about something called Great Recruiters, but the founder of Great Recruiters said something to me. His name is Adam Conrad. He said, every Friday, I made sure my recruiters called every candidate that we submitted and said, hey, I have no feedback for you. Because, again, that's where the biggest complaints occur. That's where you need to make sure that the experience, the journey, right, the outcome is the job, or, fail quickly or lose quickly, right? Find out it's not a good fit immediately, and then bring them back into the funnel, start talking to them again. So if you can either remember to call them, set a Fanatical Friday, that's what he calls it, really pumped about that, or use automation to say, hey, every X amount of days, if this status doesn't change on the submission, send them an email from me just being like, hey, I have no feedback, or a text. They're just happy to hear, I think,
Absolutely,
right?
Yeah.
And you're improving that. And so that's a really long-winded way of saying, once those people are placed, or, a lot of people tell me that their number one referral source are people that they never place. So if you can create an incredible experience that creates transparency and a great relationship with people, and then you say, hey, I know I wasn't able to help you, or hey, you love this job, do you know anyone? Do you know anyone that can help? So instead of, obviously focusing on the top of the funnel is important, and having a great inbound strategy to do that, to help convert is really important, and you should have that. But if you can create an incredible experience for these people, that's going to help them flip and become your number one placement source.
Right.
Your life will get a lot easier, I think. So that's why I always talk about post-hire first.